Hey, hello, it's Thursday night again. Welcome. It's Thursday night again. Welcome back to the Go Game Go channel for another adventure with Viking Stew on Hammer Away. Tonight, you can see we got the Vikings Fave follow-ups, part 1. This is in no way, shape, or form to tell you, hey, these are the only ones that were ever good follow-ups. This is part 1. There's a million follow-ups that were great. Even follow-ups to these follow-ups were probably pretty good. And then, hey, if you guys have any questions, if there's some things you would love to ask me, and things that I could maybe ask you guys, if you guys can get it started with me too, that way, just chime on in and let me know what you would love to talk about. So let's get started. Hey, what's up? I have a great piece of wardrobe on tonight for my buddy JD, and for what was recently the birthday boy, got Mr. Niels Lozauer. Just had a birthday a couple days ago, although it means nothing to him. At 67, he said he's got other things to think about. And just not a big thing on his list. So, yeah, look at that, 5150. So glad to still be able to wear it. It's great. May just look a little bit. I got to do a working out, but no, it's doing all right. It's doing all right. So yeah, like I said, tonight, some follow-up stuff. And there he is right there. Also, why else was I going to say? I don't know why. It is 5150 time. My buddy, I wish I had that photo. I could have thrown it up here. But my buddy, when he turned 50, I was 51. So we did a 5150 shot. I'll have to get that up here sometime. So welcome to everybody. Welcome my brother JD. May not be one of the longest shows. I'm going to click this in because there's just no reason to have all that crap on the outside. So so look at this. We got some stuff going on here. We got look at this. Jim Steinman. This was a great record. This was the follow-up to Bad Out of Hell. Basically, when Meatloaf came back into the studio, didn't feel like he could do it. He didn't like the status that he had gotten and the things that people were saying about him. Up here, we got some Ozzy Osbourne. We'll be talking about that. My new Iron Maiden books back there. Got a little Nazareth back there too. Over there, we got a little guitar course. I'm going to see. I thought about giving that away, but I don't know. I may need it. I mean, there was somebody to whom I was going to give it. Look at this. This is a classic single from Iron Maiden. And then up here, we got some Cheap Trick and some Led Zeppelin and some Zebra and an Anthrax single up there. So some cool vinyl stuff. I love cool vinyl stuff. It's been my life lately, as you can see. Vinyl Confessions, man, had to have it. And a little MC Escher over there and Thor. So cool stuff. I'm trying to see. I'm wondering if I can get my DVD thing going, but I got to get this piece of video downloaded because it is Judas Priest meets Peoria fans live at the Peoria Civic Center, August 17th, 1986. Yikes. It was the Turbo Tour. And I'll save that rest of that story unless I've already told it to you. Save the rest of that for later. You still sad you left your 5150 tour shirt in the locker room after a hockey game. You got to be careful of those hockey games, man. They'll ruin your life. You just saw Meatloaf posting recently saying his voice is in top form. Interesting. That's good to know. I mean, you know, a lot of folks are losing some form. So I have some footage I have to check out of my son doing some singing too later, not on the show, just checking it out. I was giving him some pointers today. So anyway, we can get started here. Last night, Go Game Go. We had a brilliant show. We're talking some games. I was writing some different ideas down to what to do for some future shows. So I have some cool stuff. Some of them might end up just being videos that I'll put out. But let's get started with this. You ever have those records that you just love follow-ups? Like, oddly enough, this one I felt was a fun follow-up. It was a good follow-up to Bat Out of Hell. I mean, feasibly, he wrote all that stuff anyway. So, you know, but I liked it. I had fun with it. A lot of the songs on this album would end up on the Bat Out of Hell 2 album, and long in the future. So, you know, we'll talk about that some other time. Tonight we got to get on with our stuff. Born Distracted, what's shaking? Thanks for being here. Tears for Fears recently released a new single from up and coming new album, Far Out. My big question is, in that same vein, my big question is, are NXS ever going to release anything new? Because that's why that singer had left the band and joined the Dead Daisies, because they weren't recording anything, even though they had a bunch of stuff written. So, you're losing some foreign in the waist area. This happens. But still, that's why I'm glad I can still wear the shirt. Oh man. So let's get started. Some of these albums that we're going to talk about tonight are right before, as I mentioned in the descriptor, some of these are things right before they exploded, like things just went to the peak of their career. We have a few bands that we'll start with that, but then the rest of these are going to be albums which are freshman, sophomore releases that were just brilliant. So let's get started. You know what I did though? I just realized I think I put one set in. Okay, I'm gonna leave it where it is, because oddly enough, for some reason it belongs there, and we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so let's get started. I had brought up all of these pages that told us a little bit about every one of these records, and then my computer, it's a darling piece of poo, screwed me, and it was just taking forever. I'm looking down now because I'm typing something and I can't just do it while I talk. I'm just not that good. Well, let me see. I don't know if I can easily pull these up, because I would like to tell you a little bit about some of these as we go. And, you know, having a little bit of, I don't know, this is going to take for freaking ever. I don't really want to do this. I'll see what happens here. We'll do the first two. Okay. So the first one that we have, let's get back to here, is we're going to start with Iron Maiden. That's my band, Iron Maiden. Number of the Beast. This is when I got into Maiden. And then when I really started getting into them, I realized, hey, that's not the same singer. But Number of the Beast is a great record. It had some awesome stuff on it. I'll just read a little bit about what they say out here online, just to give you an idea. It's the third studio album by Iron Maiden. It's released on March 22nd of 1982. So it's coming up on its 40th anniversary. How about that? Just like me. Yeah, it's a bunch of crap. But it was recorded January through February of 1982. And the studio was Battery in London. And the length of the album is 39 minutes, 11 seconds on EMI, produced by Martin Birch. What was his name on this one? Let's see if we know what his name was on this one. Martin Farmer Birch. So now this was the last record to have Clive Burr on drums. Okay, so bear that in mind. Then the follow-up to this was just amazing. Peace of Mind. What a great record. Now, Clive Burr's last to this one, which was Nico's first. And blazing the trail on Where Eagles Dare right off the bat, killer. Nico is a really cool guy. This is produced by Martin Black Knight Birch, which on the inside, you can see a picture of him in a Black Knight armor, in a helmet at least, right? But a great record. Both album covers by the original artist, Derek Riggs. I did see this tour, and I saw this tour. This tour, they were opening here in the States for Scorpions when I saw them in Springfield, Illinois. Girl School was the first band to open. So great record. So it was great to see Clive Burr before he was gone. And then to this album, I saw them in Peoria, Illinois, and we went backstage. That was the first time I went backstage for Iron Maiden. So a great follow-up. They're two different albums because of the drummer. It was Bruce's first two records. So it was great to, it's great to reminisce over those and know all the great tunes, and some of the things that they did with a brand new singer who really took them to new heights, and then with a new drummer on that second album with him. So a great follow-up. Let me make sure that I'm attending to these two before I move on to the next. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, picture disc of Number of the Beast. You know what I have? I should have pulled that down. I keep my picture discs in a different spot. I have a Flight of Icarus picture disc. And that was really cool. Still love it. Still have it. Let's move on to the next one. What do we have? So this was about the same time. It was 1 year earlier. And let me see if I can punch this in real quick. Boop, bip, and bow, boop, boop, bow, pow. Okay. Let's see what it brings up. Here we go. All right. And so the next one we got is High and Dry by Def Leppard, produced by Mutt Lange. Let's get back to some of the info on it. It was released July 6th, 1981. Now it would be re-released then later. But it was recorded March through June of 81 at Battery Studios, oddly enough. How about that? What do you know about that? In London. That's pretty cool. The running length is 42:15, and it was on Mercury Records. And of course, the producer was Mutt Lange, who would do this record, would also do the follow-up. And the follow-up, obviously, took them to stellar places, as we all know. Pyromania. I wore this album out. I mean, I love High and Dry. That's a great record too. That's their straight ahead. This one had a little more, it took its time a little bit more, had some really cool straight ahead tunes on it as well. But, this had Rock Till You Drop. This one, High and Dry, also kicked off with one of my all-time favorites, which is called Let It Go. This was then I'll tell you, this was re-released in 84, which then by then MTV was rolling pretty heavily, and they had the video for Me and My Wine, which was the added track. And then they had a big remix of, and I'll get it straight by reading it, of Bringing On the Heartbreak. So that's where they had the remix on that, and Me and My Wine put out the video for that. Yeah, Nico is super cool. I just got a picture of it. I got a picture with him back there. It was at the NAMM show. Me and JD, if you want to throw down on this, he and I are going to do our first episode of NAMM Memories. Give me a date if you got one. You can text it to me. You know my number. One of Nico's biggest influences is Cozy Powell. That's probably not right. Probably not right. Steve Gadd. Did I hit it yet? I don't know. You just keep telling me to keep guessing. But yeah, Pyromania took him way over the top. And then, of course, that's where we're talking about the follow-up to the follow-up. I mean, Hysteria. Boom. 3 records in a row by Mutt Lange. Keep that in mind. That's going to come up again. All right. What do we have here? Does anybody remember this album? Destroyer. Now, here's the thing that the Viking has to let you know. It happened, oddly enough, with 2 Casablanca bands for me. There was two records for these 2 bands, Angel and Kiss, that I swore all my younger years when I was growing up with these records that it was in the other order. But it was not. I always thought for many decades, thought this came first, then Destroyer. But in fact, it was Destroyer early on. So let's see if we can figure out see if we can look up some information, whatever that is. That's kind of crappy English, don't you think? Don't you think? So here's the big, this was back in a time when Kiss was releasing a couple of records a year. The album was released in March 15th, 1976. It was recorded September 3rd through the 6th of 1975, and then again also January through February of 76. It was recorded at Electric Lady and the record plant in New York City. 34:28 is its running time on Casablanca Records, and it was produced by Bob Ezrin. There's some really interesting interviews with Bob Ezrin as well. Let's look at Rock and Roll. I wonder if it's got. I wonder if I can hit for crying out loud. Let's see what we got here. See if I can find a quick list. List. No, that's not working right because I hit the wrong thing. That's why. We want to go with interesting. Early years. Boom, boom, boom. That's not going to work. I'm not worried about it. Anyway, but Rock and Roll Over was, I mean, this had Beth. How much more pop do you get than Beth? But you know, this was a rocker of an album, but it had its ballads on it. What I always thought was the cool thing on this about who won, Paul Stanley or Gene Simmons, it always comes down to Paul Stanley. Not Paul Stanley, it comes down to Gene Simmons because they had their little thing where Paul didn't think that Gene could write something, a ballad piece, and Gene didn't think that Paul could write a hard rocker. So Paul wrote God of Thunder and Gene wrote Great Expectations. I always say Gene won because he got to sing them both. So, and they're back to back on the first side of the album. Let's take a look here. Let's see if we got Eddie Kramer did the production on Rock and Roll Over. So it's a different production. And I still wonder if I can pull this up real quick. I do like having this available, but when your computer is poop, it doesn't make it easy. All right, let's do that. Here it is. It was released on November. See, and that's maybe why it rings more true with me. I had this record, never really had a copy of Destroyer when I was growing up, but I had this one. So it was released right by my birthday. So back in 1976, recorded September through October of 1976 at Star Theater in Nanuet, New York. How do you say that? Nanuet, New York. It's 33 minutes and 18 seconds long on Casablanca, producer Eddie Kramer. So another great follow-up, Rock and Roll Over, bunch of big tunes on that, hits, couple of big hits on that one. And of course, one of my favorite parts about that record is Hard Luck Woman. Well, okay. So he's telling me one of Nico's favorite drummers is a jazz drummer. I know. I thought about that. Well, I said Steve Gadd. Jazz drummers. Why can't I think of my jazz drummers right now? I might just have to have you tell me. Yeah, I don't know right off the bat. Dang. And I'm terrible at that when I'm trying to think of something else, and then I'm So let me know. You stumped me for the moment. Let's find out what's next. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move from the cool couple of albums that were right before they went on the peak of their career to the freshman, sophomore releases. And we're going to get into the one about midway. We're going to get into the one that I was telling you, there's a reason why I'm going to leave it where it is. How about this band, Loverboy? This album included Kid Is Hot Tonight, Turn Me Loose, Lady of the 80s, and I think that's pretty much it for the big songs. It also had songs like Always on My Mind, Little Girl, Prissy Prissy, Teenage Overdose, DOA, and It Don't Matter. It was produced by Bruce Fairbairn, who would later on continue to do work with Loverboy, but would also work with Bon Jovi, and I think he worked with Aerosmith a bit, but he worked with Honeymoon Suite as well. So this is on Columbia Records, and we can check out some info otherwise about it too. Loverboy, let's put band in, shall we? Loverboy album. How about that? It was released October of 1980, recorded spring of 1980. The length is 40 minutes, 13 seconds on Columbia. Producer Bruce Fairbairn, we just talked about that. Follow-up, amazing follow-up. Get Lucky. Come on. I mean, that was... Now, here's the thing. Let's look this up because there was some interesting stuff that I found out that some of you may already know about this. The model on the cover was Wonder. The people had a lot of questions about it. Who was it? And I always thought that the hand was to the owner of the pants and the butt, but the butt is a woman's butt. Let's go back. I will read this to you. It's kind of wild and tragic at the same time. This was released a year later, 1981, October 7th. It was recorded 80 through 81 at Mushroom Studios. The length is 40 minutes, 15 seconds on Columbia Record. Bruce Fairbairn and Paul Dean as producers. The rear end on this is actually the 13-year-old daughter of the photographer. And let me just tell you about this a little bit. It's kind of sad. It would be 10 years later, that same person, she would die at age, I guess at age 23 in a car accident in 1991. The cover of the album depicts the posterior of someone wearing tight red leather pants with a man's arm and hand in the foreground. The model wearing the leather pants was 13-year-old Tamara Kennedy, daughter of photographer David Michael Kennedy, who shot the cover. And then it was said that the hand and the arm were actually of another model, an Argentinian male model, 6'5", was hired on the basis of his big hands. And then it says Tamara Kennedy died in an automobile accident in 91. So yeah, that's kind of sad, but a brilliant record. Working for the Weekend, When It's Over, Lucky Ones, Take Me to the Top. This album really exploded this band. Some of my favorites on the album, I like Jump. And let me see, what's something else. Emotional, that's a lot of fun. That's truly a big Paul Dean tune because it reminds me of a lot of the stuff on his solo record. Now, speaking of jazz, let's take a step in that direction. Let's I was thinking about Dave Brubeck. So it was Joe Morello. That's cool. No relation to Tom? Is that a relation to Tom? Just asking. So let's get into the jazz. Let's keep the jazz going. Speaking of 1976, how about this? Al Di Meola, Land of the Midnight Sun. It was a Columbia Records release. He self-produced this album, and we can look up some stuff on this because there's a lot of major players on this. So let's take a look at Land of the Midnight Sun, which I found out is Norway. That's what they call Norway, is the Land of the Midnight Sun. How about that? Perfect for the Viking. Here we go. It was released October 25th, 1976. It was recorded July and August of 75 in Different Fur Trading, San Francisco, and Electric Lady in New York. Its length is 35:11. And like I said, Al Di Meola, Chick Corea, Barry Miles, Stanley Clarke, Anthony Jackson, Jaco Pastorius is on this album. Steve Gadd, I just was mentioning him. Alphonse Mouzon, Lenny White, Mingo Lewis, and Patty Wow. Buakis. I have no idea how to say that, and I apologize for my crap way of saying that. That's what I get for jumping in on the names. So yeah, followed up by what? Elegant Gypsy. These two records, everything he did back at this time frame was a follow-up to a follow-up to a follow-up. These albums were amazing. If you're into jazz fusion guitar, Al Di Meola is it. And then check out Return to Forever with him in it as well. He did stuff with Paco de Lucia and just some brilliant stuff. There's title tracks on this stuff too. Let me see if we can get to this, and then let me see if I can get to Elegant Gypsy here. It was released April of 77, recorded December of 76 through January of 77, 37 minutes long on Columbia and self-produced again by Al Di Meola. This guy's a brilliant player and still killing it today. Still killing it. Paco de Lucia was on this record. Jan Hammer was on this record. Barry Miles, Anthony Jackson again, Steve Gadd again, Lenny White as well, Mingo Lewis again. So some great players. Let's move on to our next one. What do we have? This is one of my all-time favorites, not only because of the music, but because of the cover. This is a band that fully embraced some of my favorite artists, Frank Frazetta, and who else? Why can't I even say his name now? That's so Boris Vallejo is his name. That's so horrible. I lost my mind for a second. Look at this. The Death Dealer. I had to buy the poster. It's over on my wall. This is one of the original Death Dealer pieces that Frazetta did. He did about 8. It could be up to 10. I'm not sure, but it's at least 8 that he did of the Death Dealer. Check those out. They have posters for them out there on Amazon. You can buy them. And get the whole set. So they're freshmen straight out the gate. Bounty Hunter, Gator Country, Big Apple, The Creeper, The Price You Pay, Dreams I'll Never See, the Allman Brothers cover, which my new band is going to be doing. I'll Be Running, Cheatin' Woman, and Trust Your Old Friend. Some great songs on this album. And of course, the follow-up, totally kick-ass. And I'm so honored to have played the title track in one of my bands. I love this record. Whiskey Man, It's All Over Now, which is the classic, even the Stones covered that. One Man's Pleasure, Jukin' City, Boogie No More, Flirtin' with Disaster, Goodbye. Let's see, Good Rockin', Gunsmoke, Long Time, Let the Good Times Roll. And just great stuff. Produced by Tom Werman on both of these albums. Personally, this is probably, I don't know if I don't really want to say it that way, but I haven't been a huge fan of Tom Werman over the years. I just didn't think that he did the best job with some of my favorite bands. But these two records, I mean, could the production have been a little bit better? Maybe, but they pretty kick ass. You put this thing on, you put that Flirtin' with Disaster on. Oh my God. It's just wonderful stuff. 1978, 1979. Just some brilliant stuff by those guys. Here's the one that I left, and you'll understand exactly why I left it on here. But let me double check here real quick. I want to make sure that I'm not, again, leaving anybody out here. Dave Brubeck Quartet did a lot of odd and multi-time. So they certainly did. Long before Rush. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, yeah. And at the same time as Rush, you've got people like Al Di Meola and Return to Forever, all of that happening back in the early mid-70s. So, yeah. Joe and Tom Morello, not first one to ask. It's worth asking, right? Yeah. That is just... They are fantastic. So how about this? Anybody have an idea? This was not the beginning of their career, but it was the freshman and sophomore releases when they had a major change. Does anybody have any ideas who that might be? And why I would say these are like freshman, sophomore inclusions? Just asking. It's real heavy duty stuff. It was an amazing thing back in 1980, was Back in Black. AC/DC was produced by Mutt Lange on Highway to Hell with Bon Scott on vocals. And that's when he passed. And their follow-up was awesome as well. I just thought this as a freshman offering by Brian Johnson in the band, I just thought was this is my favorite AC/DC song, I think. I just love the power. Never seen this band live. That's one of my sad points. However, though, if I do get to see them sometime in the near future, I get to see Stevie Young. So I've talked about him a couple of times now. Stevie Young was in Starfighters back in the day in 1982. When Ozzy was on tour and suffered from his rabies shots and collapsed on stage where I was watching, that was the opening act, was Starfighters. So Stevie Young, the nephew of Malcolm and Angus, is now in his uncle's spot in AC/DC doing the rhythm guitar work. So yeah, I just thought that those were great. I know I'm kind of stepping away from all the info right now, but it suffices to say 80, 81, Mutt Lange produced, they're on Atco. I mean, just great stuff. What's next? What do we have next? Oh, look at this. So here's a cool freshman release, right? Again, I'm not showing everything. These are just the ones that I pulled out real quick tonight. All right. Ozzy Blizzard of Oz. Now, here's the cool thing. I was really, really happy to find this. Because on the back cover, you guys have seen the other version, which is right there, actually. Here, you want me to get that? This is the one most people know. Oh, I'm going to have to move Nazareth because they're kind of in the way. Oh, mama. All right. So here's the one that most everybody got, right? Blizzard of Oz. Is that the same? It's kind of the same. Color is a little different on the print, but the back, everybody's used to seeing this, right? Well, then I was checking out at a record store back home, And I found this version with the actual band that played on the record. So how about that? With Bob Daisley and Lee Kerslake. This is Lee Kerslake, and this is Bob Daisley on bass and drums. Both of these gentlemen wrote a lot for Ozzy. They weren't always credited for it. That's been their big thing. And these two guys were from the Uriah Heep days, among other things. But I knew them from Uriah Heep, and they ended up with Ozzy, and I was so happy to find this. This album was a great start. I thought the next record was a brilliant follow-up, but a better record as well. I Don't Know, Crazy Train, Goodbye to Romance, D, Suicide Solution, Mr. Crowley, No Bone Movies, Revelation, Mother Earth, and Steal Away the Night, which is Steal Away the Night's one of my all-time favorite Ozzy tunes. This was produced by Osbourne, Daisley, Kerslake, and Rhodes. Yeah, on Jet Records, which was what ELO was on. ELO, I was kind of interested to see that Ozzy was on Jet Records because I'd only seen ELO on there. So to me, it was more like a pop label. Hey, what's up there, Blake? Man, what's shaking? Thanks for joining in and putting so many exclamation points after my name. It really steps it up. So the Blizzard of Oz follow-up, Diary of a Madman. What a great record, produced by Max Norman, Ozzy Osbourne, and Randy Rhodes. This album, Over the Mountain, Flying High Again, You Can't Kill Rock and Roll, Believer, Little Dolls Tonight, Sato, and Diary of a Madman. When he came out on stage, he kind of came out in just a blue top. You've seen the pictures. Blue top, white pants. Started singing Over the Mountain. Got to Over the Mount. Bam! Hit the floor. It was soon after that show, I got to see Randy Rhodes finish that song. They all finished it instrumentally. And then it was just a matter of a few weeks that the plane crash happened. But a brilliant follow-up to that first record. What a sophomore release. And you got to love it. Really catapulted him, like I said, with a lot of these. Now, here's the last one that I've got. We're going to step out, not totally. We're not stepping away from music totally, because this gentleman has a brand new television series that's out. It's called Only Murders in the Building, and it's on Hulu. Check it out. It's a lot of fun. Steve Martin Short, and Selena Gomez are all three in it. And there's some other character actor players that you've seen before. Nathan Lane is in it, actually. But back in 1977, huge on Saturday Night Live was Steve Martin and Let's Get Small. How about that? This has Ramblin' Man. See, so it even starts with music. Ramblin' Man, Ramblin', theme from Ramblin' Man. Vegas, Let's Get Small. Smoking. Do you mind if I smoke? Do you mind if I fart? One Way to Leave Your Lover. Mad at My Mother. Excuse Me. Grandmother's Song. Funny Comedy Gags, and Closing. So this was a lot of fun. It's produced by William E. McEwen, who worked with him on all of these albums at that time. Again, another follow-up to the follow-up. Let's just talk about the first follow-up before I move on to that. Wild and Crazy Guy. Huge on Saturday Night Live with the Wild and Crazy Guys. He and Dan Aykroyd were great with that. This includes ta-da, the song that he would sing on Saturday Night Live. I'm Feeling It. Philosophy, religion, college, language, creativity in action. I'm in the mood for love simply because you're with me. So, Wild and Crazy Guy, of course. A charitable kind of guy. An expose. Cat Handcuffs. You naive Americans, My Real Name, and King Tut. What a great hit song that was. 1978. Both albums are on Warner Brothers. Everything's written by Steve Martin. When he talks about cat handcuffs, that's one of my favorites because he found out his cat was embezzling from him. So I went out there. He said I found he had a stash of there was like $4,000 worth of cat toys out there. Sure, they're fun. So hilarious stuff. Great follow-ups. Yes. Let me back up here a little bit. I will put this up though. Yes, a fantastic banjo player is Steve Martin. And we just watched the end of the first season of this Only Murders in the Building. And there's a great twist in the story. It's a lot of fun. Van Halen freshman and sophomore albums with Hagar. Yeah, right. You could do both. I mean, you could do Van Halen 1 and a great follow-up with Van Halen 2. You could have 5150 and OU 812. You're absolutely right. You could do the same thing because those two albums were great. Blake, hey, my favorite Ozzy record there, Diary of a Madman. See, I'd also like to know, Blake, what do you think of No Rest for the Wicked? That's one of my favorites too. That's got some really great, smoking tunes. Do you guys remember me talking about the debate that I was in with a coworker friend about Bark at the Moon? See, that was not a good follow-up album. So you went, yeah, even better. What the hell was this? The production on it was not good, first of all. And but I got into it with a coworker years ago, just blah 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 blah, nothing major. But he's like, that's a great album. I go, it is not a great album. What is a great album? I bet Mr. Blake could listen to this album front to back, right? And then if you're listening to it on CD or if you're listening to it streaming, you could put it on replay, right? That is a great record. When I can go through here and I can go Over the Mountain, Flying High Again, would love to hear that song. What would be a great song after that? You Can't Kill Rock and Roll. Do I want to hear Believer after that? Damn straight I do. Little Dolls, second side, Get Started. Sure, why not a ballad? We'll do Tonight after that. Sado and Diary of a Madman. What a way to finish it up, right? So that's a great album. I don't feel like I need to skip any of those. And if I'm truly into this record, I could hear it again right after that. That's a great record. So what I put forth to this coworker friend of mine was, okay, so every time you put on Bark at the Moon, you can't wait to hear So Tired. And he goes, no, that song sucks. I go, not a great record. So Tired, the Rise of Skywalker moment in Bark at the Moon. And like I say, the production just wasn't that great. I felt kind of poorly for, sure. I just had his name in my head. Why can't I say it? Guitar player. Badlands. Has his Red Dragon Cartel. Why can't I say his name? Just give me the name. Anybody. Jake E. Lee. Thanks a lot, Blake. Appreciate that. I just kind of felt poorly for Jake that was the first record he had to start with. And if you want to see those guys in action, Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley, they're on that video. So if you're wondering why those guys don't look like the other guys, that's why. Because they changed back out. Because those guys left. Rudy Sarzo went on to be in Quiet Riot. So No Rest for the Wicked was all right. Okay. All right. All right. I'm going to do something here. Hold on a second. Because I want to go through, I'd like to go through that record. Because I thought it was really good. No Rest for the Wicked was the follow-up to Ultimate Sin, which I thought was a great record. Now that was a great follow-up to a not great record. Talk about throwing out a life preserver. That was the record that Ozzy needed at that time. It had enough pop stuff on it, so it was really, but the production was really good. It was Ron Nevison did the production on that. And I believe he did No Rest for the Wicked too. Ron Nevison did, I think he did Ultimate Sin, but producer on No Rest for the Wicked, I'd forgotten that, was Roy Thomas Baker, who produced some of the biggest Queen stuff. He also did a bunch of Cars albums, the early Cars albums. I think he did every Cars record to Heartbeat City, which was Mutt Lange. So, yeah, No Rest for the Wicked was released in 1988. It was recorded at Enterprise Studios and Goodnight LA Studios in Los Angeles. 43 minutes, 8 seconds long on Epic. And here are the songs. Miracle Man, kick ass. Devil's Daughter, kick ass. Crazy Babies, kick ass here. Breaking All the Rules, smoking great. Bloodbath in Paradise, all about Charles Manson and the murders. Oh my gosh. Fire in the Sky, what a great ballad that was. Tattooed Dancer, kicking ass again. Demon Alcohol, and Hero to end it out. A lot of these songs still Bob Daisley. Hey, if you haven't seen the Randy Castillo movie, check that out. He was very well regarded by a lot of people. Then I guess there's some on a later reissue, they had a song called The Liar, which was an added track, and they had a live version of Miracle Man recorded at the Tower Theater in Philadelphia in '89. So there you go. That new release was 51 minutes and 28 seconds. I'll have to check out The Liar. I don't think I've ever heard that. But I loved this record. It was a little dark in places, but, as a follow-up to Ultimate Sin, there's a great follow-up. I'm not mad at all. Not mad at all. Let's see. I got to get back and let me see what we've got going on here. Let's see. VH1, 2, definitely. Let's see. The only two albums I kind of regret listening to is those sucky 2 albums with dude, come on. Don't say that about Jake E. Lee. I mean, there are some great songs on Center of the Universe. Bark at the Moon is a great song. What's the Rock and Roll Rebel is on there. There's some great, and I told him that, I'm like, there's some great songs on there, but it's just, bad production. We can bash on Ultimate Sin. You thought was bad production? Really? That's cool. I mean, it's your opinion. I'm not going to knock you for your opinion. I thought the production was pretty damn good on that one. JD saw the No Rest for the Wicked tour with Zakk Wylde. He went from thin, clean-shaven kid to big, badass biker dude. That's right. Who doesn't drink anymore. Yeah. I just can't believe when Jake E. Lee's name slips my mind. That's just horrid. He did, but Ozzy hates the production on that album. Well, okay. Thanks for letting me know that. That's interesting. All right. Rudy Sarzo, one of the nicest dudes. He is a legend and one of the nicest dudes. Kind of freaked me out when I found out he was going to be playing bass. This has been years ago. He was playing bass for Yngwie Malmsteen on tour. I mean, he's done all kinds of stuff. The things that he's played. He was in Blue Oyster Cult for a while, and Whitesnake, and just so many different bands. Wait, what's shaking, Dan? Nice to see you. Jakey Lee is the bomb. He was, there's a local guitar player here that I used to describe as having a war with his guitar, much like Jakey Lee did when I saw him on stage, because I saw him on the Speak of the Devil tour, which was originally called Talk of the Devil. I'm joking. Those albums are good. Oh, come on. You're joking? Don't tell me you're joking if you're not joking, though. I mean, it's okay if they're not, if you don't like them, that's okay. I mean, I have to live with X Factor and Virtual XI. I have to deal with those two records by Iron Maiden. I don't listen to them. Do I own them? I'll say it again on here. Do I own them? I've said it before on this show. Do I own them? Yes. Do I like them? No. Did I almost cry when I saw Bruce Dickinson sing those songs live that were done on those albums by Blaze Bayley? Yes. Why? Because it's worth it. Just what I think. Think he's as good as Randy Rhoads, just different. Yeah, I mean, Jakey Lee's got a terrific style that I love. Love it. And I do need it. I don't even know that I've checked out all of the Red Dragon Cartel. But Blaze Bayley, what'd you say here? Blaze Bayley was a letdown. He certainly was. A lot of people like him. They say his solo stuff is kind of cool, but when he was with Maiden, he had no dynamics. I mean, we had been witness to years of dynamics by Bruce Dickinson. You sing it this way this time. You sing it that way again, but when you get to that next one, it's different. And he takes it in a different direction. That's what you do. That's how you keep it interesting. But when I hear this, what was it? It was the one the song that they wrote, I think, kind of in tribute to the movie Falling Down. When he's like, falling down, falling down, falling down. I mean, every time it was the same. Never different. Never different. I just didn't understand. I love my Steve Harris, man. Love that guy. It's a lot of fun to talk to. I had the definite pleasure and honor to have hung out with him twice backstage and talk with him. And he was really, really cool. But I just don't know what they were thinking when that happened. Okay. Let's just settle down a little bit, shall we? Hey, look at this. I just want to promote this place. It's right down the street. It's called 13 Roses Tattoo. Okay. It's a tattoo studio right down the road. So check them out if you're looking forward to a tattoo and not like the tattoo on Fantasy Island. What's that? Oh God, I'm on that era right now as we speak. So yeah, I stopped in there because I think I want to get some ink, and so I'm going to talk to him about some stuff. I always wanted to do that. Again, one time soon here, I will get this Judas Priest interview piece up and we can check it out. I've got some other cool interview pieces that I'm going to put together for some videos too. What time do we have here? Okay, we're shooting for just an hour. Why don't we do that? We'll just kind of wrap it up here. One of the last things I want to talk about, I've been checking out some blues tracks for my new band. So what that led me to the other day was this brilliant track. Check it out. Maybe what I can do is I can find a link here, and I'll put the link in for y'all. Let me do that. It came across on my feed, and let me see if I can find it real quick here. There it is. Okay. See what you guys, I'm going to copy this. All right. And then I'm going to come back to you, and I'm going to do this, and I'll do that. There. Okay. So check that out. This is a band called Bad Touch. The song is called Baby Get It On. And the female singer is Molly Marriott, daughter of Steve Marriott. And it's a great, sexy blues rock tune. Yeah, so check it out. Band is called Bad Touch. They're a UK band, and they've been together since 2010, and they have maybe 5 releases at this point. And everything I was hearing on the first record sounded great so far. It's heavier than Black Crowes, and it's really cool. Just think, had Brad Gillis stayed with Ozzy, we may never have had Night Ranger as we know it. He made the right move, better fit, but kudos for filling in last minute with Ozzy. Yeah, he didn't have a lot of time to prepare for that gig, if I remember correctly. And he is just one of the nicest guys too. And of course, historically, that first Night Ranger album came out in '82. And he was asking Ozzy and the management, he was trying to negotiate a deal where Night Ranger could tour with Ozzy and he'd open up and play the Ozzy gig. And they didn't go for it, which I can understand that. You know, I mean, you don't want to spread it too thin. You know what I mean? But it's too bad that couldn't have worked out. Because that first night, just to say, that first Night Ranger album was a great pop rock, pop hard rock, offering. And again, another freshman sophomore follow-up, Midnight Madness, was a great follow-up to that. They had more hits even off of that record, and that led to another great follow-up after that. They had a really good run there of those first 3 records. He did. He had very, very short time to learn those songs. Not to mention he had to do all the Black Sabbath stuff too, right? Did he do all that? Yeah, he had to do all the Black Sabbath stuff too. But yeah, super nice guy. I have a few memories and thoughts on Brad Gillis. His solo stuff is great. Check out some of that. And then let's see. I met him backstage at the Night Ranger show with my dad, and that was cool. I think I've mentioned it on here before. So there's nothing like introducing my dad to Brad Gillis and saying, "Brad, this is my dad. Dad, this is Brad." And Brad sticking his hand out and going, "Hey, Will." I just thought, wow, this is so cool. This is so cool. And then I saw Brad again. The picture that I was just talking about with Nico was from the NAMM show. And that was at the Martin booth where Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw were playing in promotion of those guitars. And Yeah. And that's where I saw Nico standing in the doorway, said hello, took a picture. When everything was wrapping up, I walked across the room because I saw there was Brad Gillis across the room. So I went over and said hello real quick. Brad Gillis, this is real interesting too. King of the Whammy Bar. That's interesting too, because that was one of 2 people that I had my friend, you all seen Guy Kingsbury on my show. He's been on the show before. And he actually showed me what that whammy bar growl is that he did. Can anybody tell me what other hair metal guitar player had that kind of as a signature piece in their playing as well. But Guy taught me how he didn't teach me. I mean, showed me. He demonstrated how he did that by just when he'd do that, wow, 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 and he'd just flip that whammy bar. And anybody, yes, that's it. Very good. Oz Fox. He was all over that, all the way back to the beginning, and straight away into Soldiers Under Command, which was the first record I had. And he was doing that stuff. And I'm like, what is that? You know, and I asked Guy when I was hanging out with him one day, I'm like, dude, how does he do that? And he goes, oh, he just flips it. He just flicks it like this. And don't worry, Dan, I'm going to get to your message here up above in just a second. I know Night Ranger is because every time Keishi plays them, it's, oh, Blake, my dad was, I don't know how old he was. Late 60s, at least, maybe 70, when I took him to that Night Ranger show, right? And I gave him to go home. I gave him, I think the show was Kansas, Night Ranger, and REO. I think that was the show. And and I gave him a mixed tape to take home to listen to some more Night Ranger on his drive, right? And then he complained to me later, why is it when they play Night Ranger, all I ever hear is Sister Christian? They have so many other good songs. I was like, I feel your pain. I hear you. You're right. You're right, Dan. KK's Priest needs to be discussed at some point in the future show. You're right. I'll hold off on my review. So far, what I've heard, I didn't feel was great so far, but I'll listen to the whole record and I'll give you my review and we'll discuss it. Maybe that'll be, I'll make sure we'll talk about that next week. All right. If you want, Dan, why don't you join me for that? You can be on the show. Just get a computer and we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll do that. Let me see what else we have here. Wow. Fox. What is this? Whoops. Night Ranger has so many great tunes. Shredder, hard rock band live, much like Toto and Journey. Yeah. Get lumped as ballad bands. Yeah. Sister Christian is a great song though. You're right. You're right. It ended up on that. Remember they had that commercial for Monster Ballads and the guy jumps out of the airplane, lands, and then walks up to the door and hands them Monster Ballads. Double disc too. He and Eddie Van Halen had some of the, yeah. Vi as well. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you guys chiming in on that too. And let's not discount Jeff Watson. And I know none of you are. It just so happens that the Ozzy Night Ranger thing, we get stuck on Brad. But yeah, Jeff Watson, what a great guitar player. I have his album back there, his solo album. And don't forget, man, I have a podcast coming at the end of the year. Just a reminder, From an Avenger. Let me know what it is. If you need me to be a guest or if you want me to just to stay the hell away from it, then just let me know. I don't have a problem with that. I don't take it personally. I'm a graphic designer and a bass player. I don't take that crap personally. 8 finger tapping insane. Yes. Speaking of which, finger tapping, another show, something on the show I'm going to get into is rock and roll music in movies on the silver screen in various degrees, because there's so many different ways. You got everything from rockumentaries to mockumentaries to soundtrack laden movies that have hits on them, to movies that have bands in them and all that kind of stuff. So there's so many ways to come at it. So we'll be talking about that. What'd you say? Man, I'd like you to be a guest. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. One of my favorite things from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I guess, I mean, this is great. I mean, if you guys have anything else you want to ask, but I'm cool with leaving it there. Because again, don't want to make it too long. But yeah, let's get together next week. Let's talk about stuff. And then, like I said, JD and I will be talking our NAMM memories coming up soon. He and I will get a date together for that and figure it out. Should be a lot of fun. Again, our albums, I'll just say them. Steve Martin, Let's Get Small. Maybe here, let's see if I can get them up here. I'll see if I can hoist them up here. There's just so many. And I don't want to crimp them too badly, if you know what I mean. So we have Steve Martin, Wild and Crazy Guy, Let's Get Small. Great back-to-backs. Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz, and Diary of a Madman. Back-to-backs. Great stuff. AC/DC got Back in Black, which they totally were back in black with that. And for those about to rock, great follow-up records. Some of my favorite songs, I didn't mention this, but Back in Black, my brother kind of gets tired of it because there's certain times where it seems like they're reusing rhythms in certain songs. It's kind of odd. He goes, that's that other song. When they went into the guitar solo, I'm like, that is kind of similar. So it's kind of weird. But Back in Black, Hell's Bells, Shoot to Thrill, Giving the Dog a Bone, What Do You Do for Money, Honey, Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution, Let Me Put My Love Into You, You Shook Me All Night Long, Shake a Leg, Have a Drink on Me. And for those about to rock, his title track is first, Evil Walks, which is a cool, heavy tune. COD, great barn burner. Spellbound, that's another massive barn burner. Put the Finger on You is just solid hot. Let's Get It Up, just a cool, kind of like The Stroke, one of those kind of, party tunes. Inject the Venom. I just want to listen. Whenever, if it's been a while since I've heard this, I think of that song, I just want to hear it. Breaking the Rules, just kind of a slower, more dirge, an AC/DC dirge tune. Snowballed. I mean, you want to just going down the hill. It's like Seinfeld talking about the involuntary luge. Gets a gold medal. Didn't even want to do it. Night of the Long Knives, another cool, just dark, dirgy kind of song. Which it's very much like it's very much in the same vein as Evil Walks. And I'm just trying to think of something like Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution. It's that kind of, not speedy, but man, just a great group of songs. Inject the Venom. I'm going to listen to that straight away once we're done. I wish I could play it on the show. What I'd really like to do is have a radio station. So if anybody knows how to do that, we can do that. I'm sorry. So Back in Black, for those about to rock, Molly Hatchet, Flirting with Disaster, Boom Boom. Great pairing. Let's Get Down and Get Jazzy, man. Al Di Meola, Land of the Midnight Sun, and Elegant Gypsy, back to back. I'm telling you, if you've not checked these out, you must. And then check out Casino, another great record. Splendido Hotel is amazing. Electric Rendezvous is amazing. Kiss My Axe is amazing. Look at this. Remember these. The debut by Loverboy and Get Lucky. Course, Kiss, back to back, Destroyer, and Rock and Roll Over. I love going back through these. This is great review. High and Dry, Pyromania. Right before they went Hysteria and went completely nuts with a different style. That's why I went with those two records. And of course, my band, Iron Maiden. Look at that. Number of the Beast, Clive Burr's last record, Bruce Dickinson's first record, Nico's first record, and Bruce's second. a great follow-up to that album. The production even stepped up. Same producer, but the production even stepped up. So might have been technology. I don't know. Some new things coming around. But right before Power Slave, I could have gone that way, but you didn't have to. Number of the Beast was amazing enough. So so a great time. Thanks, guys. Let me double check here real quick and make sure there was a couple more things. Here we go. Real quick. JD, wish Jeff Watson was still with them. Yeah, he played it. Oh, a Randy Rhodes tribute around NAMM one year, not too long ago. Oh, that's pretty cool. You saw the Number of the Beast tour. Yes. Oh, you saw Axe and Judas Priest. Wow, that's cool. Thanks for mentioning that, man. That's cool. Wow. What? That's a hell of a lineup, dude. Wow. So just to reiterate, I saw Girl School and Iron Maiden. So yeah. So was it Axe, Iron Maiden, and Judas Priest? Priest was the headliner, I would suppose. Is that right, Dan? I know sometimes it takes a second for a message to get through. But wow. Yeah. So I saw them open for, yeah, there you go. Okay. So it was Axe, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, because I saw Girl School, Iron Maiden, and Scorpions. I mean, what a, wow. So 1982 for Priest, you would have, was that the, did you see the Point of Entry tour? That's what I want to know. What tour was that for Priest? Was that? Oh, Screaming for Vengeance. Was that what it was? 82 was Screaming for Vengeance. Yeah, we saw Clive Burr. Yeah, it was great to see him play. I loved being able to, you know, it's that moment where you're like, yeah, I saw Clive Burr. Yeah, Screaming for Vengeance tour. Yeah, I missed that one. I saw British Steel. And of course, I was pissed off when Point of Entry came out. And then Screaming for Vengeance came out and I missed it. But I saw Defenders of the Faith and I saw Ram It Down. So, and then that, and Turbo, because that's when I went backstage and met the band. So yeah, cool. Very cool. All right. Well, we'll let you guys get to it. Thanks again for joining. Great night here on Hammer Away. Next week is going to be brilliant as well. We're going to talk about that KK's Priest. I'll check it out. And I've got something else that I'll do on that same show. We're going to get back into Wasted on Rock. We'll have a Wasted on Rock segment and we'll talk about that KK's Priest and have an open chat. So we'll do that. So I really do appreciate you guys doing that. The open chat stuff is great. Be sure to subscribe. I haven't put that down there, but make sure you subscribe to the Go Game Go channel. And you can check out all the Hammer Away back issues there, along with, if you dig in the video game stuff too, check out the open chats and things that we have on Go Game Go. You can also check out our stuff at TeePublic. You can get yourself a Go Game Go shirt. You can get yourself a Hammer Away shirt. New logo on the way for Hammer Away, so you can get that original logo while you can, and then I'll be changing it up, and there goes the old one. So so there you go, and there you have it. So yeah. So all right, you guys have a great one. Remember, when you step out your door every day, you're in everybody else's world. They're not in yours. So just bear that in mind when, you know, even when people are kind of being crappy, just, you know, let it go, ignore it. That's their issue, not yours. So the better we can be towards that, no matter what, the better it can help the next person. Okay. All right, guys, I'm out. The Viking is out. Have a great day. Enjoy Ted Lasso if you want to watch something. It's on Apple Television. Today I had Ted Lasso biscuits from the Viking kitchen. So we'll make those. All right. We'll start doing those things too. I gotta go. You guys are awesome. Thanks a lot for joining, and can't wait to hear more about it, Blake, and keep in touch.